Today's question comes to us from Maria. Maria asked, during another sleepless night, I had this insight. I am still attached to suffering and deep negativity and realize that part of me, ego, wants to hang on to the suffering. You can't possibly let go of it. You must suffer deeply to prove that you care, says the ego in its contorted way of thinking. I know I have to face the deeply embedded wrong beliefs, assumptions, fears, feel their energy and let them go. But I feel entangled in this constricting net that doesn't let me breathe fully and causes so much anguish. How can I confront and face what I don't even know is there? How can I find all the negativity still lurking in my subconscious? With much gratitude and for the teachings. Namaste. Thank you, Maria, for your question. It is one that will help all of us. This net of personal identity, this net of past experience and identifications and beliefs holds as much power over us as our belief in it. The longer we continue to believe in these thoughts, these feelings, these emotions, these memories, these ideas of who we are, our personality, our self-image, we will always feel like we are restricted in this net. We will always be restricted in this prison of conditioning. What I consider to be the greatest healing is not constantly working on yourself and trying to let go, but rather to recognize what you are truly prior to the body and mind, prior to the personality for whom there is pain and trauma and limited identifications and beliefs. So let's talk about that today. How to heal in this way, the true healing, which is discovering the self that always is, that you always are, beyond this story self, which is a constantly changeful appearance, which is not you. So firstly, I wanted to cover how when we encountered these teachings of healing and letting go, what we want to do is we have this idea, hey, I have so much trauma and limited beliefs hidden in my subconscious, which sure, you can say that that is the case. But notice that our attitude towards it is that let me sit down and deal with all of this and get rid of all of this so that I don't have to experience it, so that I don't have to go through it and face it. We want to deal with it in solitude so that it doesn't arise in personal life. We are still resistant to its arising. We don't want to experience it. So we want, hey, let me deal with it now so that I don't have to experience it. We're still creating a concept of a future, and we want to manipulate that future into one where we don't have to experience certain things. Do you see how that attitude itself is limited? Whereas your trauma, your limited beliefs, you can say that they're in your subconscious and they're like the conditioning of the mind, but they are not hidden anywhere. They are arising moment by moment by moment by moment. They arise as the current flavor of thoughts that you're having. They arise as the emotions and feelings and moods that you're experiencing. They arise as the state, the condition of the body. They arise as the condition of your circumstances. They arise as the way you perceive experience. So it's not like you have to go into isolation and work on these things, although you may do that occasionally, right? Occasionally, it's okay to go on retreats and have certain focused periods where you go away from everything and really focus on working all of these things out. But you see people get really addicted to that type of stuff. And no matter how much they do it, when they return to normal daily life, once again, they feel entangled in it. It's because they're constantly coming from resistance. Even their healing work is being done from resistance. So real healing work cannot be done from resistance. It has to be done from a curiosity to understand yourself, to understand what you truly are, to understand what you are beyond these ideas about yourself. So that is first and foremost. Don't just think that this healing work has to be done when you're in meditation or away from personal experience. Actually, it is done moment by moment, day by day. These expressions continue to arise in the form of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, sense perceptions, right? Experiences, circumstances. Notice though, when they do arise, we unconsciously identify with them and we react to them. We resist them. We cling to them. This is where we, through our clinging and resistance, bind ourselves to them, get entangled in them. So when you cling or resist, you always entangle yourself further in the conditioning. It's like a sticky little web that if you resist, you get further caught up in it. But if you learn to observe, not just whatever circumstance you're experiencing that has some limitation, but also the actions of the body, the fear and the reaction and the anxiousness and the anger of the mind, whatever emotion or thought that is arising, rather than identifying as it and reacting to it, start to be the observer of it. Start to be the witness of it. Start to objectify this whole person that is hurt and traumatized and needs to let go. In this way, you will start to experience life. Your whole personal life is just the unraveling of your mental conditioning, your mental impressions. And the more you just allow these impressions to arise, being surrendered to it, just being the witness to it, the more you will start emptying these things away. Because they're not entangling you further anymore. They're just becoming, but previously, right, you were entangling yourself further and further into it. Now these things are arising, and in your judgmentless observation, in your mere witnessing, all of these things are being emptied away. This is the way we must start looking at life. No matter if it is a challenge you're experiencing in your personal life, your relationships, your business life, your financial life, your health, anything. Start to see it as the unraveling of your mental impressions, your trauma, your limiting ideas, beliefs. And through non-reactivity, through judgmentless observation, through allowing things to be as they are just for this moment without fighting it or trying to make it go away, realizing that your true position of being, your true position of seeing is always just judgmentless, undisturbed awareness. Almost like you're like a uninvested bystander. You're just watching. Like you're just watching a movie on the screen. You're not so invested in what must happen. And you continue to observe the actions of the body from this place. You continue to observe the thoughts and decisions of the mind from this place, not identifying with any of it. And these whole beliefs, limiting ideas, identifications, they will start to go. Your weight becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. Even this tendency to suffer experience starts to melt away because you start to experience life from your true position as the awareness which does not suffer, which is incapable of suffering. Because even all suffering, there's a total awareness of. Awareness does not resist. It does not cling. It's simply aware. It is the same awareness with which you know happy thoughts and happy feelings, and the same awareness with which you know sad thoughts and sad feelings. Awareness is totally the unbiased ground of being in which all that appears exists momentarily. And in this way, your mind is just being purified because you're learning to discover what you are in your essence from where you are already knowing your experience. Rather than identify with the known, you start to acknowledge yourself as the knowing. And in this way, I heard this expression a little while ago and I really resonated with it. The personality with whom there's such an identification of self with, this personality is like a karmic wind-up doll. You know, like those dolls where you wind them up and then they just sort of walk, and then when the winding runs out, they stop. Or like those cars where it's the same wind-up tool where you back them up a little bit and then you let them go, and then they go until that winding feature allows them to. So in this way, the personality is just losing its juice. The mind is just losing its capacity to make you identify. And notice how this work is not being done only in solitude, but also in the midst of the day-to-day, when you are experiencing these doubts, these feelings, these limiting notions, these restricting experiences. Always realize that restriction and limitation is only in what you observe, not the observer. Keep returning to this noticing. So even when you have such thoughts as like, it feels like you're talking to yourself and you're saying, oh, you can't possibly let go of this, you must suffer and blah, blah, blah. Realize that that is not you. That thought is not you, and you don't have to buy into it. This is a big discovery waiting for you to notice. Ramana Maharshi used to very frequently say that even this thought that arises and says, oh, I can't realize myself, I don't know myself, I am lost, I need a lot of work and all I need a lot of spiritual practice to realize these things. He said, believing in that thought is the very obstacle. You have to starve this, what you call the ego, out of belief and attention and interest. Because we continue to buy into this notion of, I do not know myself, I am not realized, I can't understand spirituality. That is the reason we continue to experience ourself as that one. No more identifying with this one. And you see, this is the real healing. Because this talker is the one who is hurt and traumatized and needs to let go of many things. You are already free. You have to start to discover that at your essence, you are not the personality which is traumatized. You are not that which is stuck inside of anything. You dream at night, right? You appear to be stuck in that dream. You appear to be in that world and experiencing the limitations of that world. But when you wake up, you realize that you were never stuck inside of the dream. That the dream has no existence. It only appeared to be. It doesn't actually have any reality. You appear to be stuck in that dream, but that wasn't really true. You were always as you were here. So this is the real healing. Learning to discover yourself as the awareness, the ground of being, in which all of this, what you call world and personal life, thoughts and emotions, appears and disappears. And once you start to realize your true identity, from here you can just let the personal life be as it is, and you won't feel the restriction of that as you did before. Now with that, lastly, you can sometimes even have this inner reflection and contemplation and thinking process where you do investigate your beliefs. See the content of what is arising in the mind right now. If you see like a very limited outlook on life, limited like anger or fear or anxiety about the future, start to just investigate and see how those things are such limited ways of looking at life. And although that may be the current filter through which you're seeing, start to see them as untrue. Of course, they feel so real when they're here, but start to see their unreality. It's just like that dream that you had at night, where it felt so real, but when you wake up, it's not real. So just like this, this emotion or this mood or this belief that is arising right now, from where you start to see the world, it appears to be true right now. This view appears to be true right now. And I appear to be stuck inside of this view. It seems real. It seems like this is what I am. But notice how it also passes. So next time it arises, be wise enough to not identify with it, but instead to just observe it from a distance. Letting it be, not battling against it because you know now that that entangled you further in it, but just letting it be and letting it go. It will pass. You don't have to let anything go. It is the nature of everything to appear and disappear, to come and go. You simply have to start to get to know yourself as the awareness in which all things appear and go. When you cling or resist, you become an object. You appear to become an object inside of the flow of the changeful objects. And this is the restriction that we feel, out of which all suffering is born. Enough of this limited identification. Start to outgrow this, not by running away from it, but just to learn to experience life as it is. Now with this though, you have to have a consistent meditation practice where you do practice in isolation for a few moments every single day. So if you want to learn more about how to build that practice so that you can also practice during the day, I'm giving away a few resources right now. I have some mini courses inside of my free group. It's my support group, which you can join. Just click the link in the description box below. And over there, you can get access to some mini courses that will walk you through this entire practice, how to stay consistent, how to bring depth to it. That link is below. I'm also giving away a self-inquiry guide right now, which will walk you through how to do this discernment process between self and not self, real and illusion. It is a PDF document. You can download it. I'll link it down below as well. Please take advantage of those two resources. Now, if this is something like too subtle for you, this is something you're having a hard time with, and you want more of like a structured way of practice, and you want my personal help to guide you through this journey, then learn about School of Awakening. It is an amazing program and community where you get so much support. We do weekly meetings, we do guided meditations, you get all your questions answered, all of your doubts addressed, and you never feel alone in this journey. You can connect with like-minded people who are also going through the same process. And now you can join at a very, very affordable monthly subscription rate. So I'll link that down below. If that is interesting to you, take a look at it. I really think it will help you. That's all for me for today. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.